Me again. Today I'm going to make some egg noodles my way. We're going to have chicken noodle soup for supper. I've got my home canned chicken soup. I have my home canned potatoes, because around here you pour your chicken and noodles over mashed potatoes. And one other thing, it's not in my soup, but we like corn in our chicken soup when I make chicken and noodles. This is some frozen corn that I dehydrated. Actually, I did it today. So I don't have it sealed because I knew I'd be using it. This is 3 1-pound bags of corn. So this will go a long ways in very little storage at room temperature. So I'll get things set up and I'll show you how I make egg noodles. Okay, these are egg noodles, and I'm going to get rid of these eggs. These are store-bought. I don't like them. Yuck, yuck, yuck. My supplier's hens have started laying again, so she brought me a couple dozen of farm fresh eggs. And I want to get rid of these grocery store eggs. A little bit of salt. And I've got my 2 jars of flour. Unbleached. I always use unbleached because we get enough chlorine in our diet in city water and stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and use up what whole wheat flour I have here, and I'll empty out the jar and just grind some more. So I'm going to get my eggs broken in here. And Alright, I got my eggs cracked in here. Just put the salt in now, right? Let's put in a little salt. What's that look like? A teaspoon? How about a teaspoon and a half? You know me. And I'm just going to get these whipped up pretty good. I know some people use their food processors. I don't. First of all, I don't have a food processor. I've got a little, well, I take that back. I had a little tiny one. It broke this morning. I've got one out in the RV. I'll go get and bring it in. I probably will never use it. So what I'm going to do is just keep adding flour to the eggs. Now, some people put milk in theirs. Some people put water. I don't. I have, and I figured I really don't need it. Besides, these are store-bought eggs and they're watery enough. So I've dumped all the wheat flour in. Now I'm going to dump in the white flour or the all-purpose flour, and I'll be back and show you what my stiff dough looks like. Okay, guys, I put flour in here and been stirring away until it was too thick for me to stir it, or too stiff. So I work the flour in by hand, you know, kind of like when you knead bread. And I've got my cotton tablecloth over here that I use as a pastry cloth. And I'm going to work in more flour here, just till I can work with it. And it's a pretty good batch of egg noodles. That's good. Anyway, there we go. I'll get my little noodle maker ready to go, and we'll whip out noodles. Okay, I've added more flour to my cloth here and my dough. This is my pasta maker. I'm going to say I've had it 25, 30 years. If you're interested. Most of it is in Italian. Looks like when I bought it for $51, but I think you can get them on Amazon for cheaper than that now. So what I do is I just break a piece off, flatten it out, and this side rolls it into sheets. And I typically then take flour and this one turned out pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and run it through again, just to work in more flour into them. Okay. I used to do this by hand many, many years ago, and it's no problem, but this makes it go a lot faster, and I'm able to make a large batch. And then this machine, you just turn the dial to make them thinner, thicker, thin. But I'm going to make them a little bit thinner. Boy, the old farmer worked on my machine the other day, and it's a squeaky little thing. I'm going to cut this into a little bit more workable. Now, on this side of the machine, I've used this to make like spaghetti noodles. This side is what I use for egg noodles. However, if you want them wider, let's go ahead and run this through. And change the... And here's what I've got. What is that? Maybe 1/4 of an inch or a little bit wider. And then I'm just gonna lay them out to dry, and I just flop them over there. I considered getting a noodle dryer, which in my opinion is nothing more than one of them old wooden laundry dryer things. But what I do works just fine, and that's just something else I'd have to have in the house. So I'm going to keep on going here, making these noodles, getting them start to dry. I don't store mine at room temperature. They say if you dry them well enough, you can, just like pasta. But being as it's raw flour, raw egg, I go ahead and refrigerate them. But I'm going to keep on doing this. I'll come back after I get another sheet or two rolled out and show you what you can do if you want to cut them by hand. Okay guys, I got all the sheets done, and actually didn't get done before my machine quit me, and a little frustrated. I loaned it out. They washed it in water. It was obvious when it came back. But anyway, what you can do is roll up your sheets and take a knife, a pizza cutter, whatever, and cut them as thick as you would like them. And after you've cut them, done rolling, and like I said, I just scatter them around. I flour my surface well and let them dry. And then tonight for supper we'll have the chicken and noodles. So, or you can fold them several times, roll them, fold them, whatever works. And just go through and cut the noodles as wide as you want them. Okay, I'll come back when we have chicken make the soup. Okay guys, we're gonna put together the chicken noodle soup, and you're gonna see why I love canned foods for a quick and easy meal. Yes, it took longer because I made the paste. I made the noodles today, but today they'll be fresh noodles, and I'll have extra for that I'll go ahead and dry tonight. So, chicken soup. Pop the lid. And in it goes. I want to add some corn to this. So we'll add, about a couple tablespoons. This is a 1/2 tablespoon scoop, so I definitely don't want to add like a 1/4 cup or a 1/2 cup, because that'd be a whole pound of corn. We don't need that. And I'm going to get it to simmering. And once it starts to simmer, I'm going to add the pasta, the egg noodles. Then we need to make our potatoes, because remember, in our part of the world, we put the chicken and noodles over mashed potatoes. Canned potatoes that I made with my Tatler lid. So let me show you. I don't know if I can hold this up and do it without making a mess. But just very gently lift it. And there you go. So in another pan, I'm going to pour the potatoes in there. All I got to do is warm those up, drain the water off, and do whatever you do. I add a little milk, salt, pepper, and butter when I mash mine up. And probably in 10-15 minutes, I'm going to have a full meal. So now you know why I like canned foods and dehydrated foods. I can have a full meal in less than 15 minutes, and people are going to think I spent the whole day in the kitchen. Guys, I've mentioned before that I make a lot of powders, and this is my homemade chicken bouillon. Notice how rich and brown that is? So compare this to that bright yellow chicken bouillon you buy in the grocery store, and then read the ingredients. I know what's in here. And I think you've seen me make maybe beef bouillon. Anyway, the reason I got this out is I decided that maybe I want a little bit more broth to make a larger batch. I can go downstairs and get some of my chicken broth that I've canned, or I thought I'll share with you my bouillon that I have made. And what it is basically the chicken broth that I make and can. I just dehydrate some of it down and grind it into a powder. It's amazing. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit of this to what's currently here and add some water. So I'll just put a heaping tablespoon in. And it is so rich and so good, so much better than that stuff that you buy at the store, and it's not salty. Anybody that bought that powdered or cubed chicken bouillon knows it's mostly salt. And if you read the ingredients, I think the last ingredient after salt and a lot of chemicals is chicken fat. So anyway, I'm going to get this dissolved in this simmering water. What I've got going here, I'm going to add a little bit of water. How do I know how much of each? I'm going to taste it. Good old quality control. And when it tastes right, then I'll know that I've either got, you know, whether I can adjust it by adding more broth or more water. And I'll come back and show you the finished product. I dipped out a little bit of the broth so you could see the deep, rich color. I must say so myself, guys, this is amazing. So I'm going to bring it back to a boil and drop in the noodles. Okay guys, I've got my noodles here. They're weird sizes because I don't know, well, you know, when I started doing it, it was squeaking and carrying on. It basically got to the point where it wouldn't work. And I at least got the sheets rolled out, and the old farmer just took it apart, cleaned it. It was bad. We should have done a video on it, but since it was the first time he'd ever done it, because we can't find anything on it on YouTube, so, and I'm sure it would help others. Anyway, my water is boiling, and I'm just gonna just drop in the noodles. And you can put in as many or as little as you want. If you like it real soupy, don't put in as many. And we're going to probably make these pretty thick. Now remember, number one, they're whole wheat noodles. And number two, I have this dark, rich broth that I've got here. So the noodles are going to look dark. They're definitely not going to look like what you get in the store, because it's going to absorb that dark broth and of course the whole wheat. So after I get it dished up, I'll show you how we eat chicken and noodles in this part of the country. Okay guys, I mashed the potatoes. Probably can't see them, but, and then we used to have this in our school lunch all the time at school. Of course back then it was homemade. And that's how we eat chicken and noodles. Alright guys, thanks for watching. See you around.